All right, guys. So we're doing a video today. I actually bought a Amazon greenhouse from Amazon. Thought you guys would probably like to see it. This channel does mainly MREs, but this kind of goes along with the survival part of it and things like that. So without any further ado, let's turn around and I'll show you the greenhouse, tell you how much I paid for it, and show you what's actually in it. So here it is, and it's already looking a little bit raggedy. It's been here about a month. Let's say maybe 5 or 6 weeks. And so this is a $299 greenhouse from Amazon. This is a reinforced plastic. It's kind of a new thing they've been doing. And it has actually like a fabric, canvas fabric here, reinforced plastic there. So this is a pretty big one. This is 10 foot wide, 30 foot long, and 8.5 foot tall. And we just restructured a lot of it. We'll go inside and show you here in a second. But we also dropped on a shade tarp on top. What this does, you can buy these different darknesses. This one's 50%. So let's 50% light through, 50% don't. And that knocks a lot of heat off in the summertime on this. I just kind of screwed some scrap wood on the bottom here to pull it tight. These are screwed to the bottom of the garden boxes on here. And you can see we actually did a like a tarp strap system here to keep constant tension on that shade tarp, because if you don't do that, it'll rip off. By utilizing some zip tape, we've reinforced some of this so it could take some pretty hard wind. You can see a 2x4 on the inside here that's pushing out. I'll take you in right now and show you why that is. And all we've done here, like I said, reinforce some of the stuff with zip tape. That gives it a lot more structure, any kind of weak points. The doors are just essentially covered with this plastic. It's like a loop door. We just stuck a stake in the ground with a zip tie to hold it open. One of the problems we had when you're in here and the wind starts blowing and the doors are not tethered, they could slam shut and could bend a door. Has a little structure here to keep them flopping in. So on the floor, we actually did some really heavy rubber mats. Had problems with weeds growing up so bad in here. There's still some little bits of grass. But we actually dropped in that weed barrier on the floor. The cheapest thing to do was carpet squares, and everything's tethered down with little ground staples. And you can see here, these rubber mats are pretty expensive. They're about 50 bucks a piece. But you need something to park the mower on, something to park the garden tiller on, and have a little stability to park heavy stuff on. So you can see in here, at every downward pole, we have a green T-post. And those are zip tied through the zip tape and tethered to all of that. You can see the structure inside here. You want to think this will hold up very good. This thing's actually taken some pretty hard wind. We had some pretty rough storms already, and it's held up nice. We just dropped the table in here. We got some spices going. We got some lemon trees planted, lemon seeds planted, and some key lime trees planted. And some basil, of course. Our strawberries from the store did not do great. That one's dead. That one's nearly dead. We did get some off of this one, but they're getting to the end. We're probably going to pull at least this one up pretty quick. We have some carrots growing in the background. All right. We have some, it looks far away on this. Let me zoom in a little bit. We have some spinach. We picked all this 2 days ago. There'll be one more cutting off of it, and we'll pull all that out. We're planting some kale. We only have one little piece of kale coming up. Not sure why that is. We have some arugula. I'm pretty sure that's a weed. To pull that out. And this has not been planted yet back here. There's 2 stakes way back here. Those are actually golden raspberries. We have our fig tree, which is loving in here. This came from my kitchen where it was nearly dying. We put it in the bigger bucket. Once we know we could for sure are going to get a permanent greenhouse done before winter, I'll plant that in the ground or something bigger. And then we have a ton of tomatoes. We have a couple cherry tomatoes here, yellow and red. We have back here, this was all covered in radishes. We're down just a few of them left. I planted lettuce over here. It didn't come up very good, but now we're finally getting some of it to come up. And we have basically 20 tomato plants in here. And I've made these structures to hold the tomato plants, and this is kind of a new system. It seems like it works pretty good. It takes a lot of string. We did stake these with a little piece of rebar. to keep them from falling over side to side. But you can see, if we'd have left this as stakes, they would have grown up over there, over the stakes in no time at all. They look very spindly right now. They are a little bit spindly. They just did a massive growth spurt. These are 8-foot 2x4s, and they're almost to the very top of them. Same thing last year in our outside garden box. They grew up really quick, were spindly, and then they started bushing out. We're in the process of now things are starting to bush out, right? So we have some celebrity tomatoes. These are celebrities, but these are actually bought at a different time at a different store later, and actually came up bigger than these. We got the first picking of tomatoes off this past weekend, of ripe tomatoes. Like I said, I think we're 5 weeks into this. It is, what, June 6th or 7th, maybe 8th. I'm not sure what, 8th, I think, today, and we're already picking tomatoes. If I'd have had this sooner, we could have got the garden out a lot quicker and been another month ahead, but we just didn't have it. It was a last minute thought. We have some sage plants stuck down here, and then you can see we're getting quite the, I mean, it probably looks just garbage on camera, but it actually is a really nice setup, and everything's just starting to get big. Everything's starting to put on the fruit really quick. A lot of blossoms, a lot of fruit going on. But you can see back here where I restructured that to push that canvas out away from the tomato plants, and worked out pretty good. We have some basil plants in here. We actually have 5 basil plants in here. They're starting to produce pretty good. And we move on to our celebrities, our early girls, and our big boy tomatoes. Obviously the big boy is holding up to his name because it's getting up there pretty good. Getting up there really good. And anyhow, these are all putting on fantastically. We have a lot of these little clips in here, as you can see. And we have about 150 clips on here right now. All these plants. We'll probably use another 150, to be honest with you, time it's all said and done. But these strings are actually the structure behind that. And we tie them about every 5-6 inches. And that gives you something to clip the limbs onto, and gives you more structure and support for your tomatoes when the plants start getting very heavy, which are starting to come on now to the point to where we're going to need some structure. And start getting clusters of 4 and 5 like that on these plants. So this stuff is from Lowe's. It's actually the sunshine mix, the dirt you buy. It's about $35 for a block of it. It takes about 2 blocks per container, which is pretty expensive. So all of our leafy green and smaller plants have that real expensive mix. The tomato plants have basically just like a topsoil, which is kind of like almost like a mulchy type consistency. You see there? And these boxes have the mulchy type consistency, which is way cheaper. Mainly because I didn't know about this until after the fact. I already had bought this. A lot of you guys are going to say, how'd you get your tomato plants to grow so quick and so tall? I've been using a lot of fertilizer. Not a lot. I mean, we've been using fertilizer on them. Been using some of this 13-13-13. Use it lightly. And that's the pellets on top there. You can see some white there. And when you water it, it soaks down to the plants. And then I actually also have some of this organic tomato and vegetable fertilizer, which is almost like a cornmeal type situation. And then obviously some Miracle-Gro. I'll do that periodically and try not to overwater this stuff. But yeah, that is the greenhouse. I'll just make a video of this. Some of you guys may like this. I'm thinking about just putting a complete polycarbonate structure up before winter and expanding this tremendously. Is this something you guys want to see, want to watch? A lot of tips and tricks. We have more garden stuff out, but for today, we're just going to show you inside the greenhouse and the greenhouse. But let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.